Thursday, August 27th. Mark it down because that's the date your CPP, your OAS, and if you get it, your GIS are all supposed to land in your account. All three, same day. But here's the part nobody's telling you. Every single month, thousands of Canadian seniors open their banking app on payment day and see nothing. Not a smaller deposit, nothing. And it's not because Service Canada made a mistake, it's because of something the senior themselves didn't know they had to do. I want to be straight with you before we go any further. There is no secret government plan to freeze your pension. Nobody at Service Canada is sitting in an office deciding to punish seniors. But there are 5 very real, very common triggers that can delay, shrink, or completely suspend your August 27th deposit. And every single one of them is something you can check and fix in the next 10 minutes if you know what to look for. Stick with me, because point number 4 is the one that catches even seniors who've been collecting their pension for 15 years without a single problem. And by the end, I'll show you the one phone call that fixes almost all of these in a single conversation. Point number 1, your tax return wasn't filed on time. What is it? If you receive the Guaranteed Income Supplement, the GIS, Service Canada recalculates your payment every single July based on your income tax return from the year before. That's not optional, and it's not a one-time thing. It happens every year, automatically, like clockwork. If your 2025 tax return wasn't filed and processed by the CRA in time, Service Canada has no updated income information to work with. And when they have no information, they don't guess. They pause your GIS until the return shows up. What is it worth? For a single senior with no other income, GIS can be worth close to $1,079 a month right now on top of your OAS. If that gets suspended because of a late tax return, you're not just missing a few dollars. You could be looking at over $1,000 gone from your August 27th deposit. With no warning email, no phone call, nothing, just a smaller number in your account. How do they get it fixed? If you haven't filed your 2025 tax return yet, file it now, even if you owe nothing and even if you think you don't need to. You can file for free through a Community Volunteer Income Tax Program clinic or have your accountant push it through electronically for faster processing. Once the CRA processes it, Service Canada usually updates your file within a few weeks, and any missed GIS can be paid retroactively. But retroactive doesn't help you on August 27th if the return isn't in the system yet. Don't wait. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Can they really just stop my payment because of a tax form? Isn't that my pension, my money? I get asked this constantly, so let's clear it up. CPP is yours no matter what. You paid into it, and it doesn't stop over a tax return. But GIS is different. It's an income-tested top-up, which by law requires Service Canada to confirm your income every year before they keep paying it. It's written right into the Old Age Security Act. It's not a punishment. It's the rule that makes the whole GIS system work fairly for everyone who needs it. Understanding that difference, CPP versus GIS, is going to matter again in a few minutes, so keep it in mind. Point number 2, your direct deposit information is out of date. What is it? This one sounds too simple to cause real trouble, but it's one of the most common reasons a payment gets delayed. If you switched banks, closed an account, or your bank merged with another institution and issued you a new account number, and you never updated that information with Service Canada, your payment doesn't just disappear into thin air, it gets returned to Service Canada by the bank and then it sits there until someone notices. What is it worth? I've seen cases where a senior didn't catch a bad banking update for 2 full payment cycles, meaning close to 2 months of CPP and OAS combined, easily $3,000 or more for a couple just parked in limbo waiting to be reissued. And reissued payments by check can take weeks longer than direct deposit. How do they get it fixed? Log into my Service Canada account online or call Service Canada directly at 1-800-277-9914 and confirm the banking information on file matches your current account right down to the transit and institution number. If you've had any bank changes in the last 12 months, even something as small as your branch reissuing you a new card, it's worth the 2-minute check before August 27th. Why didn't anyone tell me this before? Here's something that frustrates me on behalf of seniors watching this. None of this information gets mailed to you as a friendly reminder. Service Canada doesn't send out a postcard saying, hey, double check your bank info before payday. You're expected to know and to check on your own. That's exactly why these 5 points matter, because the system runs on the assumption that you're keeping your file updated and most people simply don't know they're supposed to. Point number 3, your address changed and you never reported it. What is it? If you've moved in the last year, even just downsizing to a smaller home in the same city, or moving in with a son or daughter, and Service Canada's mailing address doesn't match, this can trigger a hold on certain correspondence-dependent processes, especially if they've sent you a form requesting information and it came back undeliverable. What is it worth? This one usually doesn't stop CPP or OAS outright, but it absolutely can delay GIS reviews or any request for additional documentation, which means the difference between getting your full GIS top-up on August 27th versus waiting until September or October for it to catch up. How do they get it fixed? Update your address the same way as your banking through My Service Canada account or by phone. It takes minutes, and it closes off one more way your file can get flagged as incomplete. Point number 4, you're under an income or eligibility review. What is it? This is the one I mentioned at the top, and it's the one that surprises even longtime GIS recipients. If your income changed significantly in the last year, you sold a rental property, cashed out an RRSP, started a small part-time job, or a spouse retired and stopped contributing income, Service Canada's system can automatically flag your file for a manual income review before releasing that month's GIS payment. What is it worth? Here's the twist most people don't expect. Sometimes this review works in your favor. If your income actually dropped, say a spouse retired or part-time hours were cut, you might qualify for a higher GIS payment than you're currently getting. But until that review is completed, Service Canada may hold the payment at the old rate or pause it altogether, rather than risk paying you an amount that turns out to be wrong. How do they get it fixed? If anything changed with your income or your spouse's income in the past 12 months, call Service Canada and ask directly, is my file currently flagged for an income review? If it is, ask what documents they need and get them in before the payment cutoff, which is typically several business days before the 27th. Don't assume silence means everything is fine. Silence often just means nobody's looked at your file yet. Will this affect my other benefits? A question I get a lot here. If my GIS gets delayed or adjusted, does that mess with my provincial supplements too? Things like a senior's supplement or a drug and dental benefit tied to income? The honest answer is, it can, because a lot of provincial programs pull their eligibility numbers directly from your federal GIS status. That's one more reason it's worth getting ahead of an income review instead of waiting for a letter to show up weeks later. Point number 5, you're a new applicant and your first payment hasn't been processed. What is it? If you recently applied for CPP, OAS, or GIS for the first time, say you just turned 65 or a spouse passed away and you applied for survivor benefits, there's a real chance your very first payment simply hasn't finished processing by August 27th, even if everything on your application was correct. What is it worth? Processing for a first-time OAS or CPP application can take anywhere from a few weeks to a couple of months, depending on how complete your application was and how busy Service Canada is that season. If you were expecting your very first deposit on the 27th and it's not there, this is very often the reason, not an error, just a normal processing timeline. How do they get it fixed? Check your application status through My Service Canada account. If it's still in progress, there's often nothing to fix. You simply wait. And once approved, retroactive payments are typically issued back to your eligibility date. But if the status shows additional information required, that's your cue to act immediately because that request won't move forward until you respond. The one call that solves most of this. If you only take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Before August 27th, call Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914 and ask 3 questions in one call. Is my banking information current? Is my address current? And is my file under any kind of income or eligibility review right now? That single call clears up 4 of the 5 reasons we just covered in about 10 minutes. So here's where we land. August 27th is a normal payment date. Nothing sinister is happening behind the scenes. But your individual payment can absolutely be delayed by things fully within your control. A tax return that wasn't filed, banking details that weren't updated, an address that's out of date, an income review sitting untouched, or a first application still working its way through the system. Take 10 minutes this week, log into My Service Canada account or make that call. It's the difference between opening your banking app on the 27th and seeing exactly what you expected, or seeing a number that leaves you scrambling to figure out why. If this helped you, do me a favor and share it with a parent, a neighbor, or a friend who's on CPP or OAS, because most seniors have no idea these 5 triggers even exist. Drop a comment below and tell me which one surprised you the most and hit subscribe, because I cover a new government rule change like this every single week. And I'll see you in the next one.